Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with MUSA Annual Election Debates 2023. Next up, we have Head of Welfare, and with us, we have candidates Shirley and Sylvia from Equitas Party, and we have OBs here, Inan, Jasper, Aoi, and Anne. So we'll proceed with the format first. So the format for the debates are intro by the Election Commission, which is ongoing, and then it will be opening statements by the candidates. Then we'll proceed to Q&A by the OBs. You guys have 25 minutes to ask your questions, and then we'll proceed to Q&A by the audience, both here and offline and online. And then closing statements by the candidates, and then we'll have closing statements by the EC. So without further ado, you guys can proceed with the opening statements.
Hello everyone, my name is Shirley. I'm a year 2 Sem 1 student in the course of Digital Media and Communications, and with me is my running partner Sylvia.
Hello everyone, my name is Sylvia or Xiu Lian. I'm a year 2 Sem 2 student. I'm taking Bachelor of Psychology and Business under SOMS, and I would like to have this chance with my partner to share a bit of the background of our leadership experiences that we believe makes us qualified for this position. Currently, I am a committee of Monash Pool Club as external liaison, mental health ambassador as publicity, and I'm in the Indonesian Student Association as documentation division. I'm also working in the student launch as a launchee, which exposure has given me the motivation to improve our student launch. Furthermore, the exposure to a larger network has given me insights on students' well-being and advice on further improvements. For instances, I had received personal student feedback or concerns regarding their workload or current state of mental health, and further direction of what needs to be managed and done in the launch. Therefore, with this guidance, I am inspired to be a part of welfare, ensuring that students' well-being is sustained.
Whereas I'm also a part of different organizations as well. I'm included as a logistics subcommittee in the Indonesian Society as well. I am also a current events subcommittee of the current welfare officer of the current welfare division under the current OPs. I am also a student ambassador for Monash University, Malaysia. With my experience in the past 2 semesters, I believe that I am qualified to run for the heads of welfare, since I know that it is the department's purpose and vision to first and foremost prioritize student welfare in Monash. And to give a bit of history, I previously signed up to be in the welfare department itself because I found tiny happiness that motivated me to come to uni amidst like academic stress. So as I am running as heads of welfare today, I hope to also spread that happiness and motivation to other Monashians as well. So I will now address our introduction and manifesto. First of all, the motto of our campaign is to care for welfare through positivity, which means that we are hoping to induce positivity into the daily lives of Monashians in the case of increasing happiness and wellness, as well as welfare for everyone. Through positive language, advocacy, inclusivity, we hope to promote these values in Monash, and we want to improve the foundations that we have to better serve the student community and be the voice for the student well-being. As of our manifestos, the first one is that we will continue to foster an environment of positivity on campus. We want to keep up the positive reinforcements that the current OBs have done, such as providing snack packs or events with welfare initiatives in mind, as well as we aim to induce positivity in the daily code of conduct. We hope to be able to help students become happier and create an environment of inclusivity, respect, growth, active listening, and support. And we hope to accomplish this through social media and events, especially since women are now under welfare. We hope to furthermore support these values. The second one is to foster opportunities for social interaction. We plan to have events that collaborates with different departments or schools. Thus, this serves as an opportunity for students from different academic backgrounds to meet each other and to communicate and to interact, creating a sense of belonging and community and connection among students as Monash University students. The third one is to advocate for mental health and well-being. We acknowledge that studying in a renowned university, students can have academic stress, and sometimes we may need professional help. Yet these helps may not come as available as is. Thus, we aim to create an environment in Monash where students can feel comfortable receiving help, allowing students to not feel embarrassed or confused, and to educate the importance of taking care of themselves through talks, workshops, and also our social media, as well as being the bridge between students and student life. last one is to keep on improving the division. We acknowledge that as students, we have our limitations, especially with our ongoing assignments and everything. But we will also keep on working on improving ourselves and the division, hopefully through a constructive feedback that we hope to implement in our social media account in the future.
If we are to be elected, we plan to maintain the current mid-snack pack approach, Wellness Week, which has been awaited by many Monations, with the initiative for wellness, and also we try to improve consultations. There has been progress about awareness and the existence of mental and physical health. We encourage these services and hope to promote it further by administering more content on these. And in the midst of despair, we hope that students are still able to find a reliable shoulder to lean onto, no matter who, what, or where it will be. We will be working with Naluri, our partner, for Health and Wellness Center. This also backs up our manifesto, such as in advocating mental health and well-being. We have ambitions to do collaborations and to expose students to the resources available to them, and to continue annual events that women officers have been doing as well. As for the facilities that are under our management, we also noticed that there are areas that could be improved. First, we aim to actually have a system to manage the launch well. We plan on executing contracts for our student launch employees, which allows clarity of terms and expectations, serves as a reference in events of dispute and misunderstanding, and so more, while ensuring that employees do abide by the handbook. And these handbooks are something that we also plan to execute, to administer. Within the handbook, rules, regulations, benefits, professionalism, and such guidelines are to be specified to ensure a proper working environment with the right balance of formality. We are also in the midst of discussing of having a revenue weekly target for the job to be taken more solemnly. Needless to say, we strive to preserve the launch by repairing the facilities and accommodating sufficient amenities. Lastly, we would endeavor to pursue activities which are yet to be fulfilled by the previous OBs, to inherit, carry through, and pass it down. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for your opening statements. Now we'll proceed with questions by the OBs.
Hello, thank you so much, Sylvia and Shirley, for your opening statements and also having the courage and the to run for this role. We really admire it. So firstly, I just wanted to ask you guys, so your second manifesto point states that you guys want to foster social interaction. So there's already many opportunities for this on campus currently provided by clubs and school representative departments, activity department, and basically there's already a lot. So do you guys think that the focus of the welfare department should also be on this?
Can you just give us like 1 minute?
I'm afraid your time to discuss is up. Please answer the question.
Okay, so we are planning, as we said before, that we are planning to do collaborations with other clubs and societies as well. And we also try to collab with Naluri or even the Student Life as well. And this hopefully will reach a wider target of audiences, which will help foster for a more wider reach of community.
Hello. Just to follow up on it, I don't think that's what Ina was. In fact, I think she was asking more on like. Hello. Can you hear right? Okay. I think what she's trying to say is basically, should welfare be prioritizing this, like in social interaction of students to improve this? Because this seems more like a job scope of another department, like the activities department, right? Do you think this is a welfare-centric focus?
We believe that this is one of our goals, although this may not be one of our main items, although this is included in our manifesto. Yes, but we we have our own flagship events, and this is just one of our plans in the future. So yes, there are currently tons of events that other clubs have, but probably our events would be specified for the welfare itself. Like maybe what we have right now is like mental health and physical health, and other departments might not have that purpose specifically, and we would aim to have events that will actually cater to those themes. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, this mic is a bit wonky, but yeah, thank you so much for that answer, Shirley. I think you guys you're on the right track, but I would just advise you guys that although I know your intention is to boost the students' like mental well-being and welfare, I think the better way to do that wouldn't be to have events focused on social interaction per se, but obviously you can center on trying to boost student positivity, but focus on welfare initiatives such as mental health and well-being, rather than just trying to get like mingle nights or things like that, because there's already an excess of events such as those.
All right, I'll move on to the next question. So, I would like to ask, what are the main welfare issues you have noticed recently, and what will you do to mitigate these issues?
It is a personal experience of mine, but last time when I was really stressed, I did not really notice, despite being a subcommittee, I did not really feel that it was very publicized about the existence of mental health counseling in Monash itself, and as well as physical health, to be honest. And actually, that is one of our aims. When we do get if we do get elected, we hope to publicize about this more and help students gain the help that they need, because we know that being in Monash, we are actually under like immense pressure academically. So we hope to address those issues through our social media, and maybe events. Maybe through our events, we'll also promote the services that we have on campus.
Okay, so I think that's a very good point, but the fact is that there's a lot of students who do not follow our page and who do not attend events and things like that. So how would you guys reach this population of students that are not very visible to us? Because at the end of the day, we can only really impact those that really show up, that willingly follow us and do all of those things. But there is a much larger student population that are not seen in any of these spaces. So how would you guys try to reach them and expose this message of welfare to them?
Can you give us like a minute for that?
I'm afraid your time for discussion is up.
Okay, so basically of course, we're going to promote and collaborate with other clubs again about this, no matter if it's social media, even if it's just by in our event itself, where we actually, for example, like if we have the first event, right, we would have already our second event or third event be prepared in mind, so we can just bring it up to them and like, oh, you know, the next event is gonna be this. There's something like this, and so we'll try to get their interest as well, and we'll try to get them to spread the word as well. And by having other clubs to collab with us, also, I'm sure that they will also help us promote this by maybe also targeting their members and having a wider reach.
Just to comment on that, although it's good to have clubs and everyone to help you promote these services, a suggestion for you guys you can consider is to have a more physical approach to it. You can have more like posters, buntings, or even if the MUSA election, they have like a big banner like on the outside. You could do something like that, maybe a QR code that can be like a one-stop place to get all these counseling services. But yeah, you can look to that approach for that. All right, thank you.
Okay, so how would you guys ensure that, since you guys are transitioning to a division who would then have department heads and so on, so how would you guys ensure that the department heads that you recruit embody the correct sensitivities for a department such as welfare that deals with many sensitive issues?
We acknowledge that that with welfare expanding it to a division, we do notice that there are tasks that are added up, I guess, in a way. So we hope to do interviews and recruit these people through immense interviews, right? We will talk about their roles, and we hope to have our visions aligned with them. So I guess in a way, we are hoping to look for someone who will be empathetic yet objective, as we are dealing with communities and stuff like that. So as of now, our plans is to recruit people who have the current mindset as us and the welfare department itself.
So I think that is definitely something that you should do, and yeah, thanks for that answer. I think maybe in addition to that, you guys might want to consider, even after hiring your department heads, having some sort of training just for all of your department heads, like a sensitivity training or mental first aid training, just so that all your committee members are aligned with the vision of welfare and know and are equipped with the correct skills, basically, to be someone in that level of, like, holding that level of responsibility towards the students.
One more question from us would be, how would you manage such a large team of people, since from a department to a division is a huge step, and what kind of environment do you plan to foster within that team?
We'll have a minute to discuss. To to address this, we know that it's certainly not a one-man's job. Having a whole division to take care of is a lot of people. But as you said, we do have plans, and we discussed before about training our subcoms to shadow them from the first to the last, even though it's going to take some time, but we'll be there with them throughout. And just like how you guys have been supportive of your subcoms as well, we're also planning to implement that and pass it down as well.
Thank you so much for that answer. I think you guys, I would definitely say, do try and be close with your team and just have a positive environment within your team, because I think that the key to really be able to execute proper welfare initiatives is, first, you guys have to have a team that is also closely bonded and works well together. So do really focus on that. Okay, so one more question. So you guys mentioned in your opening statement that a lot of Monash students, they struggle due to the exceptionally high workload of Monash as a university. So how exactly are you planning to help with this issue? Because this has been brought up many times before to Monash at a high level as well, that a lot of students are struggling because of the workload. But at the end of the day, that is what makes Monash Monash. That's what makes it a prestigious university. That's what makes it that's what makes it Monash, basically. So at the end of the day, they're not really going to change the workload to fit the students. And so seeing that that is something that cannot be changed, what would you guys change in order to ensure that students can better cope and have a better experience as a student?
Zamina?
Okay, thank you for the question. Actually, we believe that certainly as student organizations, we have our limitations because this is like an academic workload that's actually set by the university itself. Thus, actually, we hope to, certainly we cannot do much about it, to be honest, but we hope to increase the moods and the environment of Monash itself, I guess, so that it makes life it makes uni life more bearable, I guess, in a way.
I would like to add something to that. So basically, if you're looking for an example of what we actually already discussed also, we also plan to have this event, not really an event, but it's an occasional thing where students can post their worries on some kind of form, and these can be sent to the student life if they and we'll summarize, like probably we'll summarize what the student life advises and stuff, and we feel like this would be a part of besides from us being their listening ears, these kind of platforms can also be a listening ear for them to at least help prevent theirs, yeah, let them vent out and stuff.
Thank you guys so much for the answer. Just a little bit of a follow-up question. So these kind of forums, how exactly would they differ from the already existing, for example, Google Forms that are there? And if anyone wishes to raise a concern, they always have the option of DMing us or messaging us directly as well. But the fact is that a lot of times, even if they do have these concerns, they just don't bother to, come to these channels. So even if you guys do open up a forum, how will you ensure that there is active participation of students in this forum?
Oh, okay. So basically, as I said, it's more of a like occasional event. It's not just a form that's put up there. Um, uh, like for example, this can be like set up in a booth where there's a QR, and people who actually put their thoughts there can get some small sort of incentives. And I believe that from my experiences of being in quite a lot of clubs, incentives actually works because they like free stuff also.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you for the response. I think, yeah, incentives definitely does encourage students to participate in these forms, but not enough, right? I guess you guys have to really look into how you can get students involved to basically provide this feedback. Because we have tried this, we have brought this up last time in our debates as well, and it's not the best method, but that can definitely, you guys have to basically just find a good method for that. I think.
Yeah, I just want to add on that I do think that the idea of maybe having like a occasional booth on campus for students just open to anyone to come, that is a very good idea. So yeah, thank you guys for your answers.
Okay, I'll pass it to women's officers.
Okay, so in the election guide, you mentioned that you guys would deal with criticism with a positive and optimistic approach. Can you elaborate on what you mean by a positive and optimistic approach?
What we mean in the election guide is that we think of criticism, we will try to think of criticism as an optimistic way of receiving feedback. Certainly feedbacks are not all positive, so we will see it as another input that that we can use to furthermore improve our department in a way, I guess. Does that answer your question?
Can you give like examples of like approaches of examples of positive and optimistic approaches that you guys plan to use?
As of now, I don't think we have a certain examples for that actually, since we don't have any particular experiences with that. But we do plan that even if we do get like negative feedback or criticisms from the Monash community itself, it is our duty to listen to them. So we hope to still we will input that and furthermore improve our division.
All right, thank you. My next question would be, do you guys have any new initiatives or event ideas that both of you would like to implement if you were to be elected that the current OBs have not offered this year?
Can you give us like a moment for that?
Okay, so basically, for now we haven't come up with something that's very new, but we plan to keep executing the things that you have implemented for the current semester, but we'll enhance it a bit more. Maybe we'll try to make it a bit more different where there's a distinct point on it. And since welfare and women's officer is becoming a division now, we'll probably also mix welfare and women's events into one, since maybe we have a tight budget as well. But there will be certainly two components of it in that particular event.
Okay, thank you for answering the current question. From what I want to ask, as the welfare division, head of welfare division, what kind of characteristic will you look for the future women's officers under your division? Could you give me some examples of what kind of characteristic you look for?
I think it's similar to the question we answered earlier, where we would love to recruit people who are empathetic yet objective. This works similar to all of the committees that we would love to recruit for the division itself. We will, because women's officers will be dealing with minorities and women's and the LGBTQ community as well. We hope for them to be empathetic and have and be compassionate in advocating for those communities.
And in addition to that, in our recruitment process, we would give several scenarios to see if they have the right balance of personality that wouldn't be in conflict with each other within the division or externally as well.
The next question from me will be, could you elaborate what efficient approach that you mentioned during your opening statement and election guide? And what kind of efficient approach do you expect from the respective heads?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm really sorry.
Since you mentioned you are expecting to have, you will have a efficient approach in your election guide and opening statement, could you elaborate what exactly that efficient approach is?
So basically, by what we mean by efficient is, since I've seen before events where they they don't have a clear objective, or maybe they do, but they do not accentuate it to the audience, and therefore the audience is just thinking like, oh, that's just an event. So by efficient, we mean we'll deliver our goals, we'll deliver our purpose, we'll deliver what we want this to be to them by accentuating this main point of the event. And so that there's no, everything is directly conveyed to our audiences.
Will be my last question. You say you're expecting to have sensitive issues or handling sensitive topics. What kind of sensitive issues are you expecting to encounter? And could you explain how would you handle those kind of sensitive issues?
We believe for sensitive issues, I feel like racism, and since we are dealing with communities and everything, and these sensitive issues, racism and LGBTQ communities is something that still exists in Monash itself. And we have seen this in like, probably all of you, a lot of people would know about the confession pages that are often like, would critic a lot of daily things in Monash. Thus, we hope to actually induce a positive environment in Monash itself regarding these topics, and to do our best so that maybe we can hopefully reduce these issues.
I would like to remind the OBs that we have time for one last question.
Okay, so since you guys also mentioned yourself that there would be budget constraints, and especially now that you're dealing with more than just one specific area, that being welfare and women's as well, we don't, like, for example, I'm sure you guys still wouldn't want to compromise on anything. So that being said, since you do have a wider scope now, how exactly would you deal with the budget constraints to ensure that you can still carry out enough events of enough quality to cater to all these different issues?
So, okay. So basically, we do acknowledge that budget constraints is something that we will struggle with, and throughout that. Okay, we will prioritize on some events, even though we can't execute all of our ideas and events, but we will also try to find ways to convey things where monetary is not really needed, such as booth is just rents, not rents. You just borrow it from school or social medias, and we'll plan more further later if we are elected as well.
Just a quick comment, right? So yeah, thanks for all your answers. I think overall, y'all have the why y'all want to do it. You don't have enough the how you want to do it. So in order to really convey to the students, to give you the trust and to vote for you, right? You guys really need to think about how you will execute the events instead of just, oh yeah, we want to do this just because, you know, we want to improve this. But yeah, but just that's a comment I want to give you guys on that, okay?
Yeah, so in terms of like the budget, what you guys can do, just a suggestion, is you guys can look for sponsorships, because a lot of times there will be external organizations who are willing to give sponsorships, especially because we have an Instagram page with a large following that we can advertise, like, you know, whatever company it is. So they will be willing a lot of times. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you guys can do to mitigate budget constraints is collaborate with other departments, other divisions, or clubs. So in that way, you guys can share the budget for some of the events. And that being said, with what Jasper just said, I think you guys, regarding what he said, I know that there's like, when you are contesting for the role, you guys don't really, you wouldn't have the full picture yet. So that's okay. So I think as long as you guys have the correct motivation, yeah, exactly, to run for this department, which I think you guys definitely do, then I'm sure you guys will do great. And I think your answers have also showed that. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Obis, for your questions. Now we'll proceed to questions from the audience, and since we are short of time, we'll try to take as many as we can.
Hey guys. All right, so you touched upon like Monash confessions and how sometimes people could be racist, people could be sexist, they aren't really accepting of the LGBTQ community. So could you tell me a bit more about the initiatives you have in place to ensure that campus will be a safe environment for everybody?
As of now, our plans as of now is more onto educating people on the negative outcomes of being maybe regarding these sensitive issues like being racist and being racist or sexism or stuff like that. Maybe in the further plans, maybe we will have events where we would hope to combine Monash students as to our best as one community, so that this can reduce these issues.
In addition to that, I do admit that we cannot control what other people do externally, but we will also use like whatever that is negative on modern confessions or something like that. We'll use it as a tool for us, as a bridge for us to know our further next steps also, and try to make it useful, even though if it seems bad in the downsides.
Given that the responsibilities of the women's officers will now fall under your portfolio, could you tell me a bit more about the procedure for you guys to handle cases of sexual harassment?
As of now, we do believe that the current procedures for sexual harassment issues is through forums or social media. Unfortunately, that would require courage from them. However, the only things we can do are to educate them, as well as being objective and help them get to help and receive the help that they need after like maybe traumatic incidents.
We will also stand by on the protocols that were implemented for the past semesters as well, and keep implementing it further and passing it on, and
So-
maybe improve it.
All right, thanks. So my last question is, given that welfare is becoming a division next year, you guys are going to be recruiting these people called the community officers. Women's officers would be part of that program. So could you tell me a bit more about the roles of the community officers and also what the recruitment process would be like for you guys?
As of our knowledge as of now, we believe that community officers would be similar to an extension of what women's officers have done, which is advocating for minority communities as well as other communities in the Monash University itself. Thus, we believe that this is similar to our vision in the future to recruit people who are empathetic and objective, because this is one of our biggest goals in the welfare department, that if we do get elected, that we match energies with these people that we do recruit.
In addition to that, we actually plan to also have a handbook in this, where we also define the roles of each community officers, and we will also ensure that their roles are played well, and we will utilize them to the optimal, to the, yeah.
So my last question is, could you tell me more about the initiatives and events by the women's officers that you would like to carry forward in your term?
We'll have, for example, the current Pride Month that they've been doing. We'll continue on that with the same initiatives. Where also Respect Now is also something that we also very we're very keen on doing as well. But also objecting to just being more inclusive and respectful also in our community.
I'd say that the events and initiatives you mentioned are sort of like campus-wide events and initiatives. Could you be more specific in terms of the small-scale initiatives that the women's officers do conduct? So as part of those events, which ones do you guys plan to continue?
For now, we will need a bit more of information and plans regarding on the data that we will be given later when we are elected to decide which we are continuing and which we are not, since everything is dependent on each other. And we'll try our best to continue everything, but we know that it's not possible. However, we will find some middle ground, and as I said before, some events we will collaborate together as one event so that it's more, so it's in a way more efficient also. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Any further questions from the audience? If there are no more questions, we'll proceed to online question. So we have one question from Jonathan. And the question is, there are many facilities in the student lounge that are old and often malfunction, such as the air cons. What are your plans regarding these facilities, and are there plans for newer facilities?
Okay, so we are aware where the launch currently, there's a lot of malfunctions. There's a lot of needs for new sport equipments, and there's also a lot of requests from students as well. I have heard it personally as well, and we do have plans to increase sport equipment such as the cue sticks, and we also hopefully plan so that we can have various of equipment such as the basketball, which was lost apparently. But to execute this, we also need to see where our budget as well. And that's why we're also implementing, as I said, we're implementing a contract as well for student launch employees, and we're also we're trying to administer a handbook where there's rules and regulations to prevent things from malfunctioning or prevent things from getting lost. And of course, it will be stricter for the employees, but this is also for the benefits of everyone also. And yeah, okay, yeah.
Thank you for the answer. Since there are no more questions, we'll proceed to closing statements by the candidates. We have a few more minutes. Sure, please.
All right. Could you guys elaborate a bit more in terms of how you plan to make campus inclusive?
I feel like although the methods may be limited, our current plans is to first and foremost to educate people. That is our first and foremost priority, to educate people about these issues, right? Um, maybe during orientation week when newcomers come, they can have a more positive outlook on Monash itself, and maybe implement these culture to the future newcomers as well. Hopefully that's answered.
So since you guys will be implementing the community officers, that means there will be other minority groups that are going to be represented under your division. So how are you going to handle when conflicts arise within these minority groups? What is your approach to conflict resolution?
Actually, we've discussed this not only within communities itself. Actually, within the department itself, we would like to prioritize communication as one of our methods in resolving conflicts. We believe that everything should be addressed through communications first, rather than just maybe conflicts itself. So I guess our answer to that is that we would first and foremost prioritize communications.
Also, in addition to that, we also mentioned that in our recruitment process, we will have screenings where we'll see each other's personality, if they're actually sympathetic, if they're understanding, and if they're respectful and objective as well. And I believe that this will help a lot in preventing conflicts as well from happening.
Right. According to the MUSA Constitution, what are the members of the Welfare Affairs Committee, and what is the role of the Welfare Affairs Committee?
As of our knowledge, Welfare Affairs Committee is the meetings where not only welfare, but different departments in MUSA would have a meeting, and we would discuss the issues that are currently happening in Monash. So maybe we would come up with issues that maybe we receive through feedbacks that we receive from maybe our social media pages, or maybe the booths that we mentioned about, the occasional booths that we mentioned. Maybe we will bring these issues up with the other departments and discuss it with them, and maybe we get a wider picture of everyone's thoughts on that.
Okay, another thing I'd like to basically just ask you guys is that given that currently a lot of students complain about the counseling services that Monash offers, how do you guys think we can improve the counseling services that we currently have? And what are the biggest issues with these services?
As of now, we're thinking that if we are elected and when we get elected, we did discuss this, so that we do need to discuss with our partners and with the other parties as well, because it's not only us that will be involved, right? So we do have plans to talk about it with them and see how to carry on with the compromise of both parties as well. And for now, I cannot say anything that is sure, because it is two different parties who are involved, and we need them to have a say on it as well.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank
Great
you.
answers, guys.
Thank you for the question. We'll proceed to closing statements.
To finish off our statement, we believe that being sympathetic and hardworking is an important value to have. We stand on the fact that everyone matters, and will always, at my best, at her best, aim to search for a middle ground and stick to the best solution that we can provide. Once again, as a leader and a listener, we are prepared to take on the challenge to be partaking in the role of welfare heads. I would like to thank the OBs and everyone else, our audiences, and I would also like to thank Shelley, and I would like to pass it back to my partner, Shelley.
We are willing to work to our best abilities to continue on the legacy of the previous OBs and improve the welfare division itself. If elected, we will make sure that Monash students' welfare will be our first and foremost priority in our events, and where we do our best to make sure that everyone can be positive and have a place and not feel left out during our period as welfare heads. As of that concludes our closing statement. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for the closing statements. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Head of Welfare, and we'll be back with School of Science representatives in a short while. Thank you very much.